Oh, welcome, welcome. It is the time of the week where we have go to Town Hall, and we have a couple of legends from Mighty Bear Games here with me today. He's getting some cringe faces from that. But so it's go to Town Hall 6 today. And we've got Michael and Terry here with us. Michael and Terry, why don't you both introduce yourself?
Hello,
What do you
hello.
do at Goat Gaming as well?
All right, I'm just gonna start. Yeah, I'm Michael. At goatgaming, I do anything tokenomics, so anything that touches Web3 and crypto and token, NFTs, NFT economics. That's all I have my hands in. Yeah, so these days very busy with preparing the token launch. I guess it's not a secret anymore. So I think there's a few things we talk about today, and yeah,
Yeah, very
great to be here.
important person in the company.
Speaking of
Keep
important
you
people,
well fed.
Terry.
Oh, yeah. Very important person joining us today. Terry,
Very important.
introduce yourself. Thank you for joining, by the way. I know you're a very, very busy person.
I think
We
Terry's
lost
Wi-Fi.
Terry.
I think Terry's Wi-Fi is bad.
Oh, no. Okay, well,
Yeah,
maybe we'll come back to Terry. Maybe Mel can just cut Terry for now.
there we go.
And we'll bring back Terry when Terry is feeling like the Wi-Fi is a little bit more stable. Cool. So today we wanted to talk to you, to the tribe, about the recent announcement that we made this week, and open the floor for questions and clarification around our most recent announcement, which was the drum roll, 5% allocation to the Genesis goats from the total allocation or total supply of the goat token. So by the way, before we start, there's going to be a lot of things that we talk about today. And if you're the kind of person that maybe needs to take a little bit more time to absorb and read through the details, please follow our Substack channel. It's playgoatgaming.substack.com, and that's where you can keep up to date our weekly. We drop weekly updates on like things like the goat drop, how it's going to work, who qualifies, how they qualify, and all that juicy information goes there first. So if you want the details, please subscribe. Cool. Well, Terry's back. Hi, Terry.
GM.
GM. Do you want to introduce yourself
Yeah.
for our newest tribe members?
Yes, GM, everybody. My name's Terry. I'm the head of finance and partnerships here at Goat. You don't see me very often, but I pop in and here and there on the Discord, and I know some of you pretty well. But yes, I do everything from internal budgeting and planning to investor relations, fundraising, and then on the strategic side, the big partnerships that we work with, like B3, for example. That's the stuff I focus on.
Awesome. I just wanted to ask you, since we don't get to have you, grace us with your town halls very often. Oh no, we lost them again. Okay, and I wanted to ask you, what excites you most about the space right now in crypto?
Oh God. Other than the new goat token, I think what's interesting is that there's always so much going on, right? I think AI was a huge topic a few months ago, and then it kind of slowed down a little bit, and all of a sudden it's come back with a vengeance on the meme coin side, and then on the gaming side, there's all these new types of platforms that people are exploring. I know Telegram's one of the big ones, and we're also focused on that. But before then, a few years ago, we had very different types of games, right? And today it's so different. So it's just exciting to see. You don't know what's going to come up tomorrow.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that each time we get like a little wave or a little excitement around Web3 gaming, it's always like a different iteration, and it's so nice to see that the space is so moving forward so meaningfully. Whether it's Telegram, or whether it's like seeing the closest thing we've seen to like a AAA game like Gunzilla on the market. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to play it. I'm sadly without my PlayStation, so have not had a chance to play it. But it just looks really cool, and I think they've definitely pushed the boat out on marketing, and I think it's worth it to see like how good and how advanced Web3 games can get. So I'm really, really rooting for like projects like them, and of course seeing some of the tokens like Goat come to market, and but also seeing Export come to market, which is another gaming project which I've been following their team, and just seeing how they went out on a limb to launch on a DEX, and yeah, GG to them, because it seems to be going really, really well. So it kind of gives us hope, and I feel like we're turning a new leaf in the space right now. So yeah, feeling good. Michael, any thoughts around what excites you? Or
Yeah, I mean, just echoing that, I feel like gaming is back. I mean, not that it ever was gone, but I feel like the excitement is back. Things are shipping, things are launching. As you mentioned, off the grid, I think the game is doing really well, so that's good to see. Yeah, and I think just generally my thesis is like we probably see like some AAA games like off the grid that integrate crypto properly, behind the scenes. Or we see some more, I would say, lighter, more casual games in platforms like Telegram with like real money attached. So this is the direction that we are building. So it's good to see how crypto and gaming is evolving in different directions, and I'm also very excited in the direction that we're going.
yeah, we've been studying Telegram games hard to see like what the market is like. Is there any particular new Telegram games on your radar?
It's funny. I've been spending so much time with Kitty Solitaire. I just haven't played anything else. Even my like basic Web 2. I play a Web 2 card game called Flip Flop Solitaire. I stopped playing that entirely. I just play Kitty Solitaire and get wrecked by Sean.
Flip Flop Solitaire. A great
Yeah.
name. Coco, you got me hooked on Boinkers. I've been trying that one out. I like
I do enjoy
the smooth feel, and the team is closely looking at that right now.
It's a very polished game, and it's really enjoyable to play.
Yeah.
I just love the tongue-in-cheek comedy. Anything that kind of makes me like just breaks me out of like the grind. I mean, it's risque, but I guess it's a look and a feel, right? Didn't one of you be like just realize after a while that it was not slot machine but slot machine?
Yeah, it was me. This morning I was like, wait,
Double take.
did I misread this?
Yeah, I just love the
Yep.
brazen sort of way of going about it, and I think that's it's taking a big swing, which I think I massively respect in the space. So yeah,
I thought we
whoever
were
the team
very
is,
intelligent with our names, with Kitty Solitaire and Waifu Clash, but I guess it's always the next
yeah,
level.
yeah. I think we got it going on. Yeah,
All right.
take inspiration from things like that. But anyway, I've been digressing. I want to talk about the latest announcement. Michael, how long did it take us to land on 5% allocation for the Genesis Goat holders? Talk us through that.
Yeah, so we have been hovering around 4% for some time. Obviously, you need to crunch the numbers and need to figure out, like, does that make sense? Do we do some vesting? Do we do no vesting? If vesting, how long? If there's a lockup, how long? We looked at a few tokens that had vesting and lockup, that didn't have vesting and lockup. It was a bit of back and forth, a bit of discussions, and obviously it's not just the percent number for the NFTs. That you need to look at it holistically, like what's the token emissions for also the airdrop at TGE, so when the token goes live. What are other allocations for the token that invest into the market? So a lot of things to consider, but we're quite confident now that we landed on the 5% drop for the goat holders. So that's 4%, and Coco, we will talk about this more specifically, but just to make sure it's clear, 5% is the headline, 4% is for anybody that holds Genesis goats, and then 1% is for loyalty, and we'll get to that into details in a bit. And all of that is without any lockup, no vesting, all unlocked at TG at the token launch. Reason for this being that like we just want to get the token into the market and not have any continuous sell pressure. So let the token go into the market, let the market do what the market does best, and then we're basically planning to sit at a very healthy price discovery, so to speak.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of discussion around like, do we vest or do we not vest? And I think we know the playbook for when it vests, and it's really kind of exciting to be like, okay, well, let's just let all the sell pressure happen once, and just leaves the room for us to run. So really exciting, and I think we're all really happy about the decision we come to. And I think the first people obviously who heard about it were the Genesis Goat holders. yesterday in the Discord when we had sort of a mini office hours with them, and generally speaking, the feedback was positive. One of the questions that got asked, which kind of I never thought about, but I just wanted to reiterate for the folks here today. So the 5% is a 5% of total supply, not of the 40% that's allocated for community. So 40% of our total token supply is allocated for community, but 5% of the total supply is allocated to Genesis goats. So maybe we can now move on to the difference between the 4% number and the 1% number. So of the 5%, you've got 4% allocated to the Genesis goats. Michael, do you want to discuss a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Do you want me to get into the 4%, or do you want to take it from there?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe let me
How do I
start.
take
And
it?
actually,
Okay.
I want to ask Terry a question in a minute, because I think Terry had a lot to do with the stuff around loyalty.
That's right. Terry and I were jamming a lot on these things, so
Yeah.
don't be shy, Terry.
So we know that rarity matters. So everybody who holds a Genesis goat will get distributed the 4%, but there will be a slight adjustment based on rarity. We've been purposefully vague on exactly what rarity is, but there are two very, very distinct. You're either going to be a legendary, which there's only 3 sets of legendaries in the collection, which is the golden goats, the hollow Genesis goats, and the obsidian Genesis goats. And I think there's only 15 of each. So those will get the highest within the 4% per NFT. And then you've got the commons, and then you've got a category in the middle called rare, which Michael, do you want to speak more about it, or do you want to hold off until we release the official pieces of paper?
Yeah, so as you mentioned earlier, right, like on purpose, we're not specifically mentioning yet what rare really means, because we also want to leave a bit of mystery and have people figure things out. But what I can assure people is that the difference between, I would say, the more common goat and the rare goat, the difference of their allocation is not going to be very big. The reason for this, and we discussed this yesterday as well with the holders, is that we also want to make sure that it has a good effect on the floor price, meaning that if the allocation for the common goat was very little, then that wouldn't really affect the floor price. We also want to make sure that the excitement the community has is reflected in the floor price. So the difference between the common goat allocation and the rare goat allocation is not going to be much. But obviously the difference of the legendary one and the common one, that one's going to be a bit bigger. So I can share that for now. I mean, Coco, feel free to jump in and clarify, but we will probably release a few more details as we get closer to the snapshot and TGE and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there'll be more information as time goes on. And there will be a snapshot. So just for clarity, everybody who's holding a Genesis Goat is accruing a loyalty points for every day that you hold the Genesis Goat. Per Genesis Goat, you get 10 loyalty points per day that you hold it. And it wipes if you move the NFT. So if you sell or move the NFT, you go back to 0. So that's the specificity around the loyalty. Terry, I don't know. Do you want to talk about, like, I can talk about the specifics, but I know you had a lot to say on like how we build the loyalty and why it mattered to you. So I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, I'll let you do the specifics. But at a high level, I try not to be super opinionated on a lot of things that I'm not expert on. But this was one thing that I felt very strongly about, right? Because I think a lot of our community have been around since day one, and day one was 2022, and so for me, I really wanted to find a way to reward our OG holders, and so there's if you've been with us since day one, we have not forgotten you. And with that same mentality, we also wanted to reward anybody who's been with us, any point along the day, right? Not just because you're day one, but any point where you're day 2, day 3, day 100, whatever. Like, as long as you spent, time with us, we want to make sure that you're rewarded. And so part of it is like, okay, how long have you been with us? And, what are the actions you've taken, all that kind of stuff. Like, we want to make sure that we don't forget you when the time comes.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to why sometimes not only does revealing information take a long time, but also executing on it can be, well, making the decision also has to consider how to execute, right? So I mean, just to share a little bit of the inner workings of how we've been doing this at Goat Gaming, it's like we went back and forth on how exactly we could track and reward every key member of our community. So you can, in this scenario, you can buy a Genesis Goat even the day before the snapshot, and you will get a really good goat drop. And that is because we want to reward you for joining our community. But then for every additional day that you've held, that also we want to give an additional reward. And then we had people who had bought the Mighty Net Genesis passes, Big Bear Syndicate. Now we wanted to reward them. So diving in deeper into that 1%, 1% of that 1%, 98% is going to only Genesis Goat holders. And that's important because that's why the headline can effectively be 5% for Genesis Goat holders, because 98% of that 1% is Genesis Goat holders. There's a very small subset of people who are allowed to have a portion of the goat drop. And those are the Big Bear Syndicate holders who wanted a Genesis Goat, but weren't able to mint it because we had gamified it a bit, and you participated in a raffle, if anybody remembers, and you may have lost that raffle. Now, you lost that raffle, but then you had an NFT that you could no longer sell. So you kind of were like, I guess, we don't like anyone to lose in our community. Let's put it that way. So there's a small set of people who have a Big Bear Syndicate who didn't mint a Genesis Goat. If you are that small subset of people, then you will get a proportionate airdrop as well. So that is a complicated one, and that's why I keep saying go back to the Substack, have a read, maybe come back and read it again, because the complication is there. And we do love simplicity here at Mighty Bear Games, but we also want to make sure that we reward
math.
Math is mathing, man. It's not my strength.
I also want to give a bit of context to the folks that haven't been with us for a long time. So just a bit of context, right? Like we had the Mighty Net Genesis Pass NFTs and the Big Bear Syndicate NFTs in 2022. So we did a migration to Genesis Goat NFTs, which is the lottery that Coco was talking about, and the conversion and all of that. So we had to consider that stuff, which is where also loyalty comes in. And again, like as a summary, so Coco gave you all the details. You can read it all on Substack, but just as a summary, so we have 4% goes to Genesis Goat holders, 1% goes to the loyalty of the Genesis Goat holders. So that is, hold the Genesis Goat for a lot of days. That gives you loyalty points every day, 10 points a day. You see it also in Substack. The second one is if you have a Big Bear Syndicate and a Genesis Pass NFT in your wallet, and you have the Genesis Goat that comes with that, you get more loyalty points. And the last one is if you have a Big Bear Syndicate in your wallet, but you lost a raffle, that gives you loyalty points. So that's what Coco just mentioned with the folks that don't have goats, but they get an airdrop anyways. So why, right? So so that's basically the allocations in a nutshell.
Basically, you get goat, and everybody gets goat.
Oh, get goated.
Everyone gets a goat. Well, that is essentially that's our mantra, isn't it? No way to lose, as we like to say. No way to lose.
Exactly.
We did. I don't know if you two saw this, but we did a poll inside our Telegram channel, and we asked the community, "Why are you here? What are the rewards? What are the incentives? What do you think?" So we had a few options. We had prizes, vibes, friends, real prizes, as in like a PlayStation 5 or something, and goat token. What was the number one thing? It's kind of like
I know what it is, but it's cash.
It was USDT. People want the cash. Cash and goat, and get actually. What's more interesting was what was the least interesting one, least appealing one. I guess I'm not here for friends. Let's put it that way. So that was an interesting poll. I'm going to put that one every day, and I'm determined to make friends, not the bottom of the list, because one day you can make friends at Goat Gaming.
I have a hot take. I think the Telegram audience is also a bit different than, I would say, the Web3 gaming audience you find on Twitter and Discord. Because I think the folks on Discord, they are more here for the community. But I think the folks on Telegram that are playing these games to earn some money, I would argue they come more for the money. But maybe they come for the money and stay for the community. Who knows?
Exactly, and that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
It's like we're at stage 1 where we're attracting the users, and yes, they want the money, but eventually they're going to be here for the money and the friends and the vibes. So anybody who wants to give us some help on bringing those vibes, we're all ears. But we're going to be bringing some more vibe stuff to the community very soon.
We're going to bring them in, and they will introduce them to the Web3 culture of how we make friends along the way, even though we might lose money along the way. But not in Goat. Goat, you'll never lose. But if you buy you'll lose. I don't know.
We should put Goat Chain actually on the poll.
Speaking of that, actually, did we share the video from the Singapore Token 2049 Goat party yet? Because that one is vibes.
We did on Telegram, but we definitely should on X very soon. It's a very cool video. I do like it.
Good.
Yeah, it was good fun. We should next time we should bring more people from the community to the party, because they will be VIPs. And speaking of VIPs, Michael, I hear you've been working on some stuff to do with VIPs.
It's a great segue. Very elegant. Yes, I need to choose my words carefully because I don't want to spill too much. Luckily, Simon is not here, so I can be speak more freely. No, jokes aside. So, where do I put this? How do I put this? Where do I start? So with Genesis Goats being the premier NFT right now, we now shared there will be a goat allocation when the goat token goes live. So that goes to Genesis Goats. It also goes to folks that are participating in the Road to Goat event. Obviously, when the token launches, the token will do something. It's not just a meme coin. And also the NFTs, they will do something. They will continue doing something even after the allocation at launch. So that's where the VIP system comes in. So there will be some kind of goat locking. Working name right now is the Goat Locker, but stay tuned. Which ties into a VIP system that just helps you earn more in the ecosystem, basically. That's as much as I want to share for now. But if you have a Genesis Goat, you're in a pretty good position to be a VIP in goat gaming.
And look, I got to say, Michael is the brains behind this, and I'm very excited that he's finally getting to the juicy. We'll be able to reveal this soon. I mean, Michael, you've been in crypto gaming since literally the beginning, right?
I guess
before CryptoKitties.
A few months after, I would say 6 months after CryptoKitties. So late 18, early 19.
Still, that's very early.
Yeah, since February. I was full time since.
Explain CryptoKitties. I think some people here might not have been that.
CryptoKitties, the OG. It's not the first NFT, but I would say it's probably the first NFT game that launched in December 2017. Yeah.
Do you remember how to play that game?
It was very easy. You just
minted a kitty.
Buy a kitty, and then you breed a new kitty, and then you have an egg, and then you have the kitty, and then at some point you breed again. It's basically what Axie Infinity did. So actually, Axie Infinity, the core team came out of the CryptoKitties community, and then Axie Infinity started 2018. And then I was working with a Japanese team that built My Crypto Heroes that also started around the same time as Axie. And I joined that team in January 2019 or February 19. And then, just built blockchain games or crypto games. Web3 games are called now since then. Web3 was not even a term in 2019.
Yeah.
We just called them blockchain games.
I remember
you've seen it all.
Yeah, I've seen it all. The ups.
Oh no! Oh no! We've had another fallen soldier.
Oh, I'm back.
Oh,
you lost
back.
me, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. That's why that's why I'm not so worried about the current cycle. Because it's up and down. It comes and goes. It's like the sun. it comes back.
Yeah.
So just keep building. Actually,
Come
and
back
honestly,
with a
like gaming
vengeance.
right now is in a much better place than it used to be 3 years ago. So I'm actually very excited about what's going on these days.
Fun fact. I actually saw the Axie pitch deck, their first pitch deck ever in 2018. That was a long
Wow.
time.
Tell us
Yeah.
about the regrets, Terry. So Terry actually also has a pretty strong crypto background. I think many people don't even know you yet
Yeah.
so well. So fill us in
Tell
on
us.
your background.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really introduce the rest of my background. Like before I joined Goat Gaming, I've been here for almost 2 years now. But I spent 5 years at a crypto investment bank called Galaxy Digital, and for my first few years there, I was on the VC side of things. So I was making investments in various companies, and one of the companies that came to pitch to us was Axie in 2018. I mean, I was really excited about it. I have like 20 or 30 Axies that have or like very small IDs. Jiho gave me like 4. I think one might have been a really rare one. I don't know. Yeah, and I was playing it and I was trying to convince my team, but they weren't bought into the vision. They were like, "What is Web3 gaming? I'm not too sure. What is not even Web3? It was blockchain gaming." And so I was like, "Okay, I mean, whatever, man. Like, if you guys don't want to invest, fine. Like, I'll just continue playing." So then I was, in the community for a little bit, giving a bit of feedback here and there, and like it was quite an interesting time. A few years later, I mean, those some of the guys called me and was like, "Yo, I'm so sorry. I didn't take your advice. Like, we should have invested." That was like mid 2021 when the XE was like at its peak, and oh man, wow, yeah.
So one might say that you have a knack for spotting gems.
Wow, I will take that.
Always
why you
listen to
joined Goat
Terry.
Gaming?
That's my takeaway. Yeah, why
Yeah.
did you join God Gaming?
I'm always early, so just let us cook.
Oh yeah. All right. Okay, we're gonna pay. You
Right.
got to pay to get the information from Terry. Maybe we have a Terry Alpha group, special Alpha group. Just
Terry Alpha Group.
I'll show
in
you.
a circle for goats.
Speaking of Alpha, I'm throwing a curveball here. I hope that's fine to do that.
Yeah, let's
So
do it.
Ro actually asked in the chat, how will you deal with another goat that started 5 days ago and is sitting at a 300 million market cap right now? So just addressing the goat in the room.
Has anyone seen that 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 meme where that little boy is talking to the lady with and he's like ha ha ha, and then he just starts crying.
Oh yeah, is that how you feel?
A little bit when I saw that, I was like, oh my god. Okay, it's fine, it's totally fine. Now I'm on the meme with the guy and the little dog in the burning house. But I think we can figure it out, right? We can actually ask the community this time, give the community the choice. Like, we can do some fun community games. Like, what would be the ticker if we couldn't have Goat? In fact, we should probably do a poll like that.
I think also, I mean, guess we'll see how much. I mean, I already said it a few days ago. Let's see how large this gets, and it already got much larger than it was a few days ago. So I don't want to jinx it again. But their tickers on Solana, so I think that's one thing that makes me a bit less worried. Yes, Goat is a great ticker, but there are also a lot of other good tickers for us that could really fit well for us. So I'm not too worried. Yeah, that's Terry. What do you think? You've been also looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been speaking with a lot of the exchanges. That's actually part of what I do as well. And honestly, like, I think things can be quite flexible. So, obviously we'll have like a plan B of like if we do have to change our ticker, then we will. But also, if this doesn't get listed on some of the major centralized exchanges, then we still have a chance of taking that ticker. So let's just see how it goes. I think this cycle is like dominated by meme coins, and I think everything else kind of pales in comparison in terms of like the attention that it's getting. So let's see, maybe the next cycle it's like, hey, maybe people don't care about meme coins as much and they care a lot about gaming, then we can take the attention. Yeah, we just have to see how it goes, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just that's the thing about Web3, isn't it? You just got to roll with the punches. Can't
you never know what the market throws at you next week. It's just,
hot take is no one cares about your ticker as long as the price goes up.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, like it was all about like dogs and cats, but then SBX has done like an insane amount of growth, and
Yeah, and that's a weird ticker, right?
it's a weird ticker, right? But it's working. So
Yeah.
make the token go up, and all will be well.
You know, there's this very weird ticker. It's going up only. It's called BTC. Have you heard of it?
There's the other Bitcoin. Do you know that one?
No.
Oh, the runes Bitcoin.
There was
the
the Shiba
Bitcoin
Inu,
Harry Potter
Sonic thing.
Sonic,
yeah, that
yeah.
thing. I had it
Stop
like last
doing your
year.
degen
But
selves.
anyways,
Yeah.
You guys
This
should be
is-
working. Stop
no-
degenning.
none of this is financial
This is my
advice
work
whatsoever.
research.
Anyways, we should bring it back to the topics.
Yeah,
Where are
sorry.
you?
Well, I wanted to. I mean, I know we've been. We wanted to talk about actually the long-term vision because I think doing a little bit of analysis on our community recently and seeing, we are always listening and taking stock of like the feedback that we get. And one of the things I think we've seen repeatedly recently is, why don't you have a roadmap? That's a good question, and I think it was a deliberate decision not to have a roadmap. But it's not like a permanent decision, and I think if it's something the community really want, it's something we're open to looking into. I won't make any commitments just yet. Simon might kill me, but I wanted to address that because I think it's not because we don't ship. Because I think anybody who's been in the community with us for even a brief amount of time will know that we ship and we ship regularly. Do you guys have any thoughts? I don't want to sort of dominate the space because I have some thoughts, but
yeah, I mean, we just touched on this briefly, right? Like the space changes so quickly, and there's new games coming out, there's new metas coming out, new way of getting users, and we also adjusted more to that now. So as you mentioned, we ship weekly, we track what works, we double down on what works, we stop doing what doesn't work. So it doesn't really make sense to commit to like a set of features that we're building over 3 to 6 months. We need to focus on just shipping every single week and improving the metrics and the numbers. I think that one is even more important. I think obviously like the community wants to understand where we go, but I think there are other ways to solve this. I think we need to explain what is the vision, what is goatgaming, what is important for us, instead of just talking about specific features. And then obviously the token is one thing that's on the launch timeline coming soon. But Terry, maybe you can share a bit more about this. But at the end of the day, we will be ready to have the token go live anywhere, anytime. But we also need to make sure the timing is right with the market, with the exchanges, with all things considered. So that's why it's also quite difficult and even dangerous to commit to a specific month or specific date for a token launch if those things are not in place.
Yeah, I think it's the way we think about a token launch is like playing 4D chess, but when the chessboard is like moving around and you're like in space, like it's so difficult because there's so many moving pieces, like literally, that you can't really control. So Michael touched on a few, right? Like, okay, whether the exchanges want to list you or not, what does the market do? Is there good sentiment within your sub industry? Like, we do a lot of work on the AI side and on the gaming side. Is the market hot for that, for example, or is everybody doing meme coins, for example? And then, maybe we plan to do a certain thing, and then that's something, somebody else tried it and before we did and it didn't do so well, or maybe somebody else tried it and it did really good and then now we're seen as a copycat, or that's something that people don't like anymore. So the winds change like so often, so I think posting a roadmap can be like shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit. We of course have a roadmap internally, so it's not to say that we're just winging it day by day, if that's what the concern is. But if you speak to our project manager, you'll know that we change our roadmap like, I don't know, every other day, because we're like, hey, we want this feature, and then no, wait, this feature's more important, and then no, these other features more important. So like, these things change all the time. And why they change also is because we look at the community feedback, right? Some of you say, hey, I want this and that, and then another person says that, and then we realize actually there's a huge demand for X feature, and we're like, okay, we need to prioritize this. The community wants this, and so what we want might be different from what you guys want, and so it's important for us to take that into consideration. So posting an image of like, hey, here's the roadmap, like it's gonna change anyway, to be honest.
And yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And I think also, I feel like if you've been in crypto long enough, you'll see, or even, I don't know, maybe this happens in every business, like roadmaps have become a bit of a joke. People post these roadmaps and they're like, they almost feel like just false sense of like false promises in a way. And they may have been starting out with those best intentions, but like all the reasons we just said, things do change so quickly that it feels, excuse me, feels a little bit disingenuous to put something out and then basically promise things that we know that may not transpire. And I think one thing that we live by in this company is like sticking to what we say. Like if we say we're going to do something, we want to do it. And if we say we value loyalty, we want to do that. So it doesn't feel right to us. And that's the decision we made, is not to put something out that we can't 100% commit to. So yeah, so I think that kind of addresses that. Long-term vision, though, has actually not changed, has it? Before I wrap up, the long-term vision, when we set out to even make Mighty Action Heroes, was to build Mighty Action Heroes and then to build a series of games, a whole ecosystem of games where people can come in and play and have that choice. The way in which we deliver those games has changed. For example, it went from browser to Telegram, but that's because of like, you know, awareness of where we can get distribution. But that sort of bigger vision is still there. So I think that is where we kind of look at our North Star, is like, what is the ultimate goal that we're trying to get to, and how do we make that happen in the meantime? Awesome. Well, I wonder if there's any further questions, but I think that's pretty much it for today's town hall. Next week, we will be talking more about, well, whatever you guys want to. So do let us know throughout the week what you want to talk about, what questions you need addressed. And as I mentioned, we are looking to bring more vibes and entertainment. We are obviously the greatest of all time. And any community member who has any ideas, please do reach out. We always listen. Great. So I'm going to just do one more sweep, but any last words, Michael and Terry?
I think, I mean, just to say again what we said earlier, you know, what we came here for. So 5% allocation to Genesis goats, 4% to everybody, 1% for loyalty. I think the one thing I wanted to also add, I don't think we talked about the snapshot date specifically. So it will be sometime before the token goes live. So stay tuned, stick around on the socials and on Discord to see when the snapshot date is happening. But you know, for now, you can buy goats, you can sell goats, you can do whatever you want. But make sure once you have a Genesis goat and it accrues loyalty, don't move it to other wallets, because that will reset the loyalty. So don't move it between your own wallets. That you will shoot yourself in the foot. Just want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah, very important. Very important.
Very important.
And for me, I think the takeaway, if you guys were to take one thing away, is that if you are a loyal community holder, we will reward you, whether you're like active participant in terms of like playing the games, or as like an NFT holder, or just been with us for a long time. Like, we will definitely reward you. If you looked at our history and you look at where we're headed, like we will remember all of the community members.
We have a lot of goats, good goats in our community that keep us on track. So that's always great. LF goat.
Well, right. Gonna bring us to an end. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us again. Stacy from our wonderful goated overlord says, Terry, if you're reading this, you should do spaces more often. I couldn't wholeheartedly agree more.
Terry, join us.
Go away.
Come play.
You don't have enough calls anyway, so why don't you just join us?
I'm very busy.
Terry is probably the one, besides Simon, the one with the most calls in the evenings, because Terry's talking a lot to people in the US. Mm-hmm. So Terry's online anyways at that time of the day.
Yeah. Treat it as one of your calls. It's cool with the community. All right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. We're going to wrap it up then. Stay goated, everyone, and see you at the next Goated Town Hall.